Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimram Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langhe Degirim Yakrabadamaham Mande Shri Gurudina Dharanam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Paramanandarmadhavam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radhakanda Namastude Saptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhudale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashyati Deshatarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Padeshamritam ki jai Jai Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai Guru Maharaj ki jai Nata Gaur Sitanath Premanande Hare 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 Krishna. So we'll start today's session by recollecting whatever we studied in the last class. I think in the last class we were discussing verse 2 of Upadeshamritam. So anyone of you remember any points from verse 2 that we discussed in the last class?
The 6 vices to be avoided.
Yes, the main topic, the main theme of that verse was the 6 vices that should be avoided, or the activities that will be detrimental to the progress in bhakti. So, do you remember which are those activities? Atyahara. What else is there?
Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasangha, and love.
Okay. So, can you, in simple words, explain maybe in 1 or 2 sentences, like what is Atyahara?
Overeating.
Overeating. Okay, so Atyahara has got 2 meanings, overeating and collecting more than what is necessary. Okay, next one, anyone else?
Prajalpa, useless talks.
Okay, useless talks. So can you give an example of an useless talk?
Like gossiping, talking about somebody,
Yes.
under keeping God and coming under talking ill about them, or debates means done with desire to conquer the other person.
Okay. So in fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur described how many types of prajalpa?
8.
8
types. 8 types. Yes. Okay. The next one after prajalpa.
Prayasa is over and
Prayasa.
for
Yes. So before prajalpa, there is prayasa. Prayasa means over and over. Over and over for what?
Material things.
Material things. Okay. So we have We came up with the 3 obstacles now. What is the 4th one?
Fourth one is Niyamagraha,
Okay.
which means you accept rules and you reject rules, and both can be an impediment.
Okay. When it is accepting rules, niyama agraha or niyama agraha?
Niyama agraha.
Agraha. So it is over enthusiastic about accepting rules. Okay. And niyama agraha means you do not at all follow the rules. Okay. 5th one
Janasanga.
Janasanga.
means Janasanga means
Bad association.
Yeah,
bad
bad
association.
avoid bad association.
Yeah, like we discussed 4 categories of bad association. Do you remember what are those categories?
Associating with person not interested in Krishna consciousness.
Okay,
Associating with Mayavadis
okay,
and Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kamis, associating
okay,
with them.
okay,
And the 4th one is associating with worldly people like socialists and
Atheists also.
atheists.
atheist. Yeah. Okay. So worldly people, atheist, and the sensualistic persons. Sensualistic persons means those people who are very much interested in sense enjoyment. Mhm. Okay. Now 6th one.
Lavulya.
Lalumya.
Lavulya.
Lavulya. Lavulya means
Greed.
Greed and unsteadiness.
greed and unsteadiness. Okay. Unsteadiness means what? Unsteadiness of the body or the mind?
Mind.
Mind, Prabhu.
Mind. So if your mind is unsteady, what will happen? You will start accepting different kinds of false doctrines or conclusions. Isn't it? If your mind is not steady, then we will have a tendency to accept all kinds of false doctrines or conclusions. So, can you give an example of a false doctrine or conclusion?
Mayavad.
Mayavad. Or even within Iskcon, there is a very prevalent false conclusion. What is that?
Ritvikism.
Ritvikism. Yeah, Ritvikism. So that is unsteadiness. And what is greed?
It means worthless opinion.
Attachment to sense enjoyment.
Yes, greed refers to attachment to sense enjoyment or worthless opinions. That is also greed. For example, desires for siddhis, merging with the Brahman, attaining material prosperity, all these are examples of greed. Okay. Now let's go to verse number 3. Okay. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritte shadbir bhakti prasiddhyati. In the previous shloka it was shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. Here it is shadbir bhakti prasiddhyati. So what is the difference between vinashyati and prasiddhyati? Anyone knows?
That will degrade our bhakti, and this will
Increase.
Yeah. So vinashyati means that will degrade or destroy. And prasiddhyati means that which will increase.
Increase.
Okay. Yeah. So now let's go to the translation. Okay, can someone read the translation loudly?
There are 6 principles
There are
favorable
6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to the regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5th one, abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6th one, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. So in this verse, we are going to talk about 6 virtues to be imbibed. Last verse, we talked about 6 vices. But this verse is talking about 6 virtues. Virtues here means those things which are activities which are favorable for bhakti. But before going into the discussion of the 6 virtues, Srila Prabhupada is first discussing what is bhakti. So why is Prabhupada first talking about bhakti rather than going into the 6 virtues? Why do you think Prabhupada is doing that?
That is the ultimate goal. To achieve that goal, we have to follow all these things.
Or in other words, whether it is the last verse or this verse, it is all connected to bhakti. So last verse talked about things that will destroy bhakti. This verse is talking about activities which will improve bhakti. So, first of all, we should know what is bhakti. Then only we can understand what are favorable to bhakti and what are unfavorable activities to bhakti. So, first, Srila Prabhupada is saying what is not bhakti. Before we understand what is bhakti, we have to understand what is not bhakti. The first statement that Srila Prabhupada comes up with this topic is sentimental speculation. Bhakti is not sentimental speculation. So, what do you understand by this statement? Sentimental speculation. What does it mean? Okay, what is speculation?
Imagination,
Imagination. Speculation means imagination. And what is sentimental?
false
Is
imagination.
it like superstitious beliefs?
It can be superstitious or some sentiments. We know sentiments like mother son sentiment or father daughter sentiment. We have such sentiments. See, for example, in the internet, you can see sometimes video of baby Krishna, and some ladies are feeding that baby, some are giving bath, some are playing with that baby, you know. So they have, many ladies have a motherly affection. So they want to exhibit on Krishna. But then, if you are not exalted, if you are not advanced in bhakti, then it may be a disturbance to your bhakti. For instance, when you have to connect with Krishna as a mother, then you should be in which rasa? Do you know which rasa is required?
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya.
Valsalya rasa, isn't it? So first there is Shanta rasa, then there is Sakhya, and before that there is Dasya rasa, and then you come to Valsalya rasa. So it's a very exalted rasa, and it is not a cheap imitation of motherly feelings. Very exalted devotees like Yashoda Maya, they were in that level. So when we start imitating such devotees, thinking that I can also be like Yashodamma, or I can be also like Arjuna, like a friend, I can be like Radharani or the gopis, then it is all speculation. It is sentimental speculation. You are trying to superimpose your materialistic sentiments onto the spiritual realm. In the beginning, it may sound good, you will feel good, but later on, it will cause a disturbance to the real bhakti. So this kind of mentality is generally known as Sahajiya mentality. Like in Vrindavan and all, there are a lot of people who dress themselves as gopis or Radharani or Krishna, and they dance together, men and women. They think that they are gopis, something that they are Krishna, something that they are Radharani, but ultimately they all end up in illicit relationships. So Prabhupada is cautioning us that bhakti is not sentimental speculation. Then the second caution that Srila Prabhupada is giving is bhakti is not imaginative ecstasy. So what is imaginative ecstasy?
Prabhu, we have seen in some of the temples and all, some people feel that some god has come inside their body, and they start behaving in that way, that some ahana has happened inside their body, like that.
Yeah. That is avesha. They call it
Avesha.
avesha,
Yeah.
isn't it? So that is sometimes simply imitation. They want to get the appreciation or acceptance of people around them. They want to prove that they are someone very special. They are great devotees. So they imagine certain things and they mimic external symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. So you can see that even in many Iskcon temples, during Kirtan time, sometimes they jump and dance and they cry, they roll on the ground, they create a lot of hysterics. So it may not be genuine all the time. So they imagine that they are in ecstasy. See, once during the time of Srila Prabhupada, one man used to regularly visit Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan. And during Kirtan, he used to behave like this, jumping up and down, shouting, crying, rolling on the ground. So he was actually creating a disturbance to the public. So the devotees went and told Srila Prabhupada, a man is behaving like this, what should we do? Is that genuine, or is simply trying to create a show? So Srila Prabhupada said, tomorrow when he comes and does all these things, you take a stick and give him one nice beating. If the man continues to show the same symptoms, it is genuine. Otherwise, if he cries in pain or runs away, then it is duplicate. So the next day, the devotees went with a stick, a big long stick. So they were about to approach this man, about to beat him. He, seeing the devotee with the stick, he immediately got up and ran away. So this is the kind of ecstasy they have. So this is not bhakti. Bhakti is not imaginative ecstasy. And the third caution given by Prabhupada is bhakti is not idle meditation. Idle meditation means sometimes people think that bhakti means you retire to some remote place, maybe to a jungle or to the Himalayas, Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then sit there in one remote corner and simply meditate throughout your day and night. So they think this is bhakti. But simply sitting and meditating and doing nothing, can that be considered as bhakti or not? What do you think?
No.
Prabhu.
For
That is not bhakti.
Mayavadis, they consider it is bhakti only, according to them, but not for
Okay.
devotees.
Why devotees don't consider that as bhakti?
Because
Bhakti
their
means,
ultimate goal is go back to Godhead, not to merge in Brahman or something Nirvana. They're not considering all those situations for them.
Okay. See, in many of the places, or in almost all the places, where the word bhakti comes in the shlokas, Srila Prabhupada always translates the word bhakti as not devotion, but he translates the word as devotional service. So why does he do so? The right translation is devotion. Bhakti means devotion. But Prabhupada always translate devotional service. Why?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, because
Yeah.
we have to, Supreme Personality of Godhead has a form, and we have to personally, like, we should feel that we are offering services to the Personality of Godhead. We get that.
So what is the swarupa of a particular living entity?
Active. He has to be always.
Servant of a impersonal.
Jivera swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadasa. Isn't it? So we are all dasas or dasis. So the moment you identify yourself as dasa or dasi, you are supposed to serve. The moment you start serving, you are engaging yourself in activities. So where is the question of staying idle? So staying idle is not bhakti. Bhakti means dasya. Dasya means activity. Activity means seva. So the servants, in Sanskrit, there is a very beautiful word for servant or dasa. The word is kinkara. Have you heard about this word, kinkara?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So what is the meaning of the word kinkara?
Das.
Huh?
Servant.
Servant. But what is the etymological meaning? The etymological meaning is Kim karoti iti kinkara. Kim karoti means what?
What you're doing.
What are you doing?
What? Kim karoti is a question.
Question.
Yeah, what should I do? What should I do?
Oh.
A person who constantly inquires from his master, what should I do? And follows the instructions of the master is a real kinkara. So unless and until you serve the master, then you cannot be a kinkara. So that is why bhakti is full of activity. And also the very nature of the soul is to stay active. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us 3 cautions. What is not bhakti? So can you say what are those 3 cautions?
It's not a sentimental speculation. It is not an imaginative ecstasy.
Bhakti is not idle meditation.
Idle meditation. Okay. So now we understood what is not bhakti. Now Srila Prabhupada is talking about what is bhakti. There is a beautiful, perfect definition of bhakti in one of the books written by Rupa Goswami. Which is that book and what is that definition? Anyone knows?
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Yes. And what is that definition? That definition is in front of you as a shloka. Can anyone read that shloka?
अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यं ज्ञानकर्मादि अनावृतम् अनुकूल्येन कृष्णानुशीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes. It's a perfect definition, a beautiful definition of what is bhakti. So in this shloka, Srila Rupa Goswami is giving 5 special features of pure bhakti. So what are they? The first feature is bhakti must be favorable to Lord. So what do you mean by favorable to Lord? Is there any activity in bhakti which is unfavorable to Lord?
Doing Vaishnava Aparadhas.
Ah, so here it can mean like abaradas. These abaradas are unfavorable to Lord. But even some other activities, like for instance, if someone wants to fight with the Krishna, so that is indirectly bhakti. But then it is not favorable to Lord because that person is inimical. So the first feature of bhakti is it must be favorable to Lord. The second feature is it must be unmotivated. Unmotivated means what?
You should not seek any reward or outcome out of it.
Yes, we should not seek any personal reward or benefit out of bhakti. And the third one is bhakti should be devoid of fruitive karma. Fruitive karma means what?
Materialistic desires.
Yeah, you do this puja so that you will get married. You chant this mantra so that you will become rich. No, like this, there are so many fruitive karmas which are mentioned in Vedas, especially in the Karma Kanda section. So, pure bhakti, unalloyed bhakti, will be devoid of fruitive karma. And the fourth feature is devoid of impersonal jnana. So, what is impersonal jnana?
Impersonal realization.
Impersonal.
Yeah. So, the understanding that I am not a person, I don't have a personality. Similarly, Krishna also doesn't have a personality. God is a force, God is an energy, God is light, God is love. All these understandings, they are impersonal jnana. So, bhakti is highly personal. There is no place for impersonalism in bhakti. And the fifth feature is devoid of selfish desires. We don't have any selfish desires, whether by doing bhakti, even the feeling that if I do bhakti, I'll become happy. That also is not there in the mind of a pure devotee. He is only doing bhakti to please Krishna, nothing but to please Krishna. Whatever I feel, it is immaterial. I'm ready to take lot of anxieties and tension for the sake of pleasing Krishna. That is why sometimes when you do certain sevas, it is not very blissful. It gives you a lot of tension and anxiety. But even then, it is considered as bhakti. Why? Because it is pleasing to Krishna. So, sometimes people say that bhaktas means they should be very shanta, they should not run around, they should not become anxious. No, it's not true. We are ready to take up any hardships for the sake of pleasing Krishna. For example, suppose we want to organize a Radha Yatra. Is that easy to do a Radha Yatra? No. We have to, yeah, it's very difficult. So in the process of organizing a Radha Yatra, the organizers, will they feel a lot of anxiety and pressure? What do you think?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, they will feel a lot of anxiety and pressure. Maybe the people who are guests who just come and pull the Radha and go, they may be throughout the Radha Yatra blissful. But the organizers are always in tension. Like it should not rain. The Radha should be pulled softly. There should not be any mishap because of overcrowding. So many things go inside their head. But then Krishna likes that. Krishna is very pleased because he knows that this devotee is taking so much of hardship and anxiety for pleasing me. So, like this, unalloyed bhakti or pure bhakti will have 5 features. Can someone summarize these 5 features?
Bhakti must be favorable to Lord.
Okay.
It should be unmotivated and devoid of fruitive karma, devoid of impersonal jnana, devoid of selfish desires.
Yes. So if we are striving for this kind of bhakti, then naturally we will be attracted to 9 limbs of bhakti. And those 9 limbs of bhakti is technically known as what?
Navavida Bhakti.
Navavida Bhakti. Who proposed that?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Exactly. So we will be attracted to Navavida Bhakti. And also Srila Prabhupada is reminding us that if you are really interested in practicing unalloyed bhakti, you will take the first step. What is the first step? You will approach a bona fide spiritual master. That is the first step. So like this, Srila Prabhupada is giving a beautiful introduction to bhakti. And then he is getting into the discussion of the 6 activities or things that are favorable to bhakti. So the first one is utsaha. Utsaha means enthusiasm or eagerness. So is utsaha necessary in bhakti? Yes. Not only in bhakti, even in the material world. Utsaha is very much important. Without utsaha, nothing can be done. So, if you want to define utsaha in the realm of bhakti, it is defined like this. Utsaha is the endeavor executed with intelligence. Any endeavor executed with intelligence is known as utsaha. So utsaha has got 2 components. One is an endeavor, an effort, and another is intelligence. So why is this intelligence important? Why not simply endeavor? What will happen if there is no intelligence but only endeavors in bhakti? What will happen?
It becomes ritualistic.
Not only that, nothing will be successful,
Yes, Prabhu.
You want to do some seva, but for every seva, you need some kind of intelligence. For example, if the spiritual master is coming to you and asking and telling that he is thirsty, you cannot go and give him a cup of hot payasam, pal payasam. Isn't it? You should actually ask him, Gurudev, Can I get you some plain water or some juice or some tender coconut? Then he will say, okay, get me some plain water. Or he will say, okay, get me some tender coconut. Accordingly, you endeavor. So it is very important that we have intelligence so that we can perform the seva successfully. For instance, someone is in a Bhagavatam class, and in the Bhagavatam class, the devotee was talking about the importance of book distribution. So this devotee is inspired that I also want to distribute books. So what he does, he carries some 10 books, 10 Bhagavad Gitas in his hand, and he stands on the side of the road. Will he be able to distribute books like this if he simply stands there with the 10 heavy Bhagavad Gitas in his hand on the side of the road in hot sun?
No.
No,
Hmm.
Prabhu.
So if he has to become successful, what he should do?
He should go and approach people. He should explain about Bhagavad Gita. What is
About
Ah,
Gita and
yeah.
Bhakti.
First of all, he should select the right spot. He cannot simply stand anywhere on the road. You have to select a right spot where people will walk past, where there is some space for people to stand and listen to what he is saying. And when people approach him, he should greet them nicely. Then he should introduce the books. Then he should explain what is inside the Bhagavad Gita. And again, if they say no, then he should tell that no, don't think this is simply a book of religion. It is a practical guidebook. It can help you to make important decisions in your life. It is good for your children. It will help them in their studies. Like this, he has to present Bhagavad Gita from so many different perspectives as per the requirement of the person in front of him. So it all requires a lot of intelligence. So that is why in Ramayana, Valmiki is coming up with many qualities of Anjaneya Swami. Valmiki is saying he is Mahakaya, Mahabala, Mahavira, like that, he is enumerating so many qualities of Hanuman. But then he repeats two qualities. Twice he says that Anjaneya Swami has this quality, that is Mahotsaha. Valmiki is saying Anjaneya Swami has Mahotsaha. That means he has got a lot of enthusiasm. So why it is repeated twice? Because that is a very important quality for any dasa. Anjaneya Swami is a perfect example of dasatva. So we are all dasas or dasis. So this enthusiasm or mahotsaha is very much important. And why we are enthusiastically endeavoring? Because all these endeavors are for Krishna. Krishnarthe akhila cheshta. That means all the endeavors of a devotee is to please Krishna. So that is why he is very enthusiastic. And not only you are enthusiastic for performing your seva, you should also be enthusiastic while performing your sadhana. Because you are supposed to chant 16 rounds, especially when you are initiated. And it is not easy. Sometimes you will feel like chanting, sometimes you may not feel like chanting. But whatever be the mood of your mind, you still chant with a lot of enthusiasm. So enthusiasm is required for sadhana as well. So this is what Srila Prabhupada explains about Utsaha, the first favorable component of bhakti. Then Srila Prabhupada is going to Nishchaya. So Nishchaya means confidence or faith. So faith in what? Faith in three people, three entities. Who are they? Guru, Sadhu, and
Sangha.
Guru, Sadhu, and
Sangha, Prabhu. Scriptures.
Shastra. Shastra.
Scriptures.
Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Guru means spiritual master, Sadhu means the Vaishnavas, and Shastra means the scriptures like Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Upadeshamrita, etc. So that is faith. And faith, you should also have faith that Bhagavad Bhakti alone is the objective, the ultimate objective of all living beings. Practicing bhakti, offering devotional service to the Lord is the ultimate objective of all living beings. And the third kind of faith is activities other than bhakti, like jnana, karma, or ashtanga yoga, will not make me happy. It may give me some benefits. Like when you do some ashtanga yoga, it may give you some health benefits, but then it will not make you happy within. Your soul will not rejoice. Your body may become healthy. So, you should also have the faith that any other activities other than bhakti, even if it is karma, jnana, or ashtanga, it cannot make me happy. And the fourth type fourth kind of faith that we should have is avashya rakshibe Krishna. What does this mean? Avashya rakshibe Krishna.
Krishna will protect us
Krishna will
in
protect.
any situation.
Yeah, in any situation. That is very, very important. Krishna will protect in any situation. Vane, Rane, Shatru, Jalagni, Madhye. If you are in Vana means what?
Forest.
Forest. Krishna will protect. Vane, Rane. Rena means what?
War.
You are in the midst of a battlefield. Krishna will protect. Vane, Rene, Shatru. That means you are surrounded on all sides by enemies. Krishna will protect you. Vane, Rene, Shatru, Jala. You are sinking in the waters. The water can mean the normal water in a pond or any reservoir of water. It can also mean the huge water body of what? Samsara. That is why samsara is known as samsara. Samsara
Sagara.
Sagara. Samsara Sagara. Samsara is like a huge ocean. Now, if you know swimming and if you fall in inside a pond or a lake or a small river, you can swim and come back. But if you fall in the middle of an ocean, how much ever great a swimmer you may be, you cannot reach the shore because it is hundreds of kilometers deep inside the sea. So, Vane, Rene, Shatru, Jala. That's why there is a Bhagavad Gita edition by the Gita Press of Gorakhpur. I don't know whether you have seen that. And in one of the versions, there is a beautiful picture in the cover page. Anyone has seen that picture?
Yes.
So, what is that picture? What does the picture depict? So many people are sinking in the ocean of samsara, and the Lord is coming in a boat, and He is extending His hand and He is pulling the sinking souls into the boat and rescuing them. So only Krishna can do this. Manerane Shatru Jalagni Madhye. And if you are in the midst of forest fire, fire has surrounded you from all directions. Even then, Krishna can help you. Sometimes it is so mysterious how this person was rescued. For instance, something very mysterious happened 2 days back in a plane crash in Ahmedabad. What was the mysterious thing that happened?
Only one person survived.
Yes, it's so mysterious. One person survived.
And the Bhagavad Gita was retrieved.
Yeah, one Bhagavad Gita was retrieved. And even though so many other things got burned, this Bhagavad Gita was like intact. Not much of any burns. So even the person who survived that crash, they were interviewing him, and he was saying, even I don't know how I escaped. He's telling something like, I removed the belt, I jumped out of the emergency exit. But at the end, he himself says, I don't know how exactly I escaped. So if Krishna wants to save, he can save in the midst of any great calamity. And there was one lady who escaped from the plane crash. You know how she escaped?
She missed the flight 10
Yeah,
minutes.
she missed the flight by 10 minutes. She was stuck in the traffic, and that's how she was saved. So we don't know how Krishna will save. What are his plans? But anyway, we need to have the faith that Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. And one more thing that you must understand here is, when we say Krishna will protect, that doesn't mean that the devotees will not die. The devotees will not meet with any unfortunate situations. The devotees will not get any disease. No. Krishna has got a plan. But then, what is the real protection that we are expecting from Krishna? What is the real protection?
Protection from Maya.
Exactly. That is the real protection. All other protections are temporary. How long can you live in this material world? And what is the point of living in this material for so many years? It's such a bad world. Srila Prabhupada many a time said this material world is not for gentlemen. It's not a good place to stay back. It is better to quit this place at the earliest instance. So the real protection that devotees should look forward to from Krishna is, Krishna, never put me into Maya. Always protect me from the clutches of Maya. Rest everything, let Krishna decide. He will take care. How many years we should live, how we should live, what all properties we should own, how much wealth we should have. This is all immaterial. Because one day you have to leave everything and go. So whether you are a wealthy man or a middle class person, ultimately it doesn't count much. What really counts is, were you a devotee? Did you perform devotional service? Did you do your sadhana? Were you staying aloof from Maya? So this is the real protection of the Lord. That is why if you go to any temple, the deity always has a hasta called Abhaya Hasta. What is the meaning of Abhaya Hasta?
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness. Don't fear. Ma Shucha. That's why our founder Acharya has got this name. What name he has?
Abhay Charana Bhakti.
Abhaya Charan. He is Abhaya. He doesn't fear. He was so bold, all alone, with just 40 rupees in his hand. He went to the west. And it is mentioned in the Leelamrita, when he landed there in America, he did not even know whether to turn left or right. That was the situation. But even then, he was so fearless because he knows that Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. So that is the quality of Nishchaya that the devotees need to imbibe. And the third factor which is favorable for bhakti is dhairya. Dhairya means patience or fortitude. In many regional languages, dhairya means bravery. In Malayalam, dhairya means very brave. In Kannada, do we have that word, dhairya?
Yes, Prabhu. Same meaning.
What is same
Bravery.
meaning?
Yes.
Bravery. But here, dhairya doesn't mean brave. Here it means patience or fortitude. So, why we need patience? We need patience to practice bhakti even in the midst of obstacles. It is not easy. In one way, bhakti is easy, but in another way, bhakti is not easy because we will come across a lot of obstacles. And again, patience is needed when you are in the stage of sadhana bhakti. Why patience is needed? Especially patience is needed to chant your 16 rounds daily. Why patience is needed to chant 16 rounds? Why?
Mind wanders because we are not tuned for, still we have not established that spiritual connection on the mantra.
Yeah, the mind wanders, and we are not like Haridas Thakur, that every single syllabus is giving us so much of bliss that we don't feel like keeping down the japa bag. We want to chant more and more. For 22 hours, we want to chant. No, we have not got Name Ruchi. We don't have Name Ruchi. And so that is why it is very important that we need to have this patience. Even though there is no Name Ruchi, even though the mind is wandering, still we have to chant. So it is like taking a bitter medicine. We don't want to take the medicine. The medicine is not tasty. I have been taking this medicine for the past 1 week. Even then, my disease is not cured. Okay, but despite all those things, we still have to take the medicine. For that, we need patience. So here, Srila Prabhupada is quoting Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is saying that regardless if my body is cut into pieces and the life air exits my body, I will never abandon the chanting of Harinama. A very, very bold statement. Whatever may happen, I will not stop chanting. So, when we hear this statement from Namacharya Haridas Thakur, we should also introspect. Do I also have this patience, this steadfastness that yes, I will keep chanting? Definitely, Harinam Prabhu will bless me. I will get Name Ruchi one day. That steadfastness is important. And Srila Prabhupada is also giving 2 examples to show that patience is important. One example, analogy Srila Prabhupada is giving is a newly married girl. So when the girl is getting married, she is desirous of having a baby. But then she cannot get a baby the very next day of marriage. She has to wait patiently till the day she conceives. And even after she conceives, she again has to wait for another 10 months so that she can get the baby. So this is one example given by Srila Prabhupada to show that patience is important. And another example that he gives is from his own life. Srila Prabhupada had to face so many obstacles, many years. Srila Prabhupada worked hard to establish Iskcon, but it did not happen overnight. After many years of continuous hard work, finally Srila Prabhupada was able to register Iskcon in New York in the year 1966. So, if you study the life history of Srila Prabhupada, you'll get so many instances where Srila Prabhupada was very patient. Okay, so the next factor that we need for the improvement of bhakti is tat karma pravartana. Tat karma pravartana means executing the principles or following the recommended rules and regulations faithfully. When we talk about the rules and regulations, there are two types of rules. One is called vidhi and another is called nishedha. Vidhi and nishedha. So what is the difference between vidhi and nishedha?
Vidhi means which
Yes.
needs to be followed, and Nisheda means which we should not do.
Yes. Or in other words, vidhi is prescription and nishedha is prohibition. So can you give an example of a vidhi? Vidhi means what? We should follow that. So any example? Yeah.
Chanting 16 rounds.
Chanting 16 rounds,
Doing
Shravanam, Kirtanam,
chant.
reading Bhagavatam, these are all vidhis. And what about Nishedha? Any example?
Breaking four regulative principles.
4 regulative principles.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So somewhere it was mentioned that this vidhi and Nishedha are like the two banks of a river. So the river may think that these banks are curtailing my freedom. They are limiting my movement. But then, are the banks on the two sides of the river beneficial for the river or not? What do you think?
It's beneficial only to
It is beneficial. Suppose there were no banks for the river. The river is completely free. It can flow anywhere, in any direction. What will happen to the river?
The river will not exist.
The river will cease to exist.
Yeah.
Because it will, if it starts spreading out in all directions, then very soon it will get dried up. That is one problem. And another problem is it will never reach the destination. What is the final destination of any river?
Some Sagara.
Sagar.
Yeah.
Yeah, ocean. So these banks actually help the river to stay alive and ultimately reach the goal. So similarly, Vidhi and Nisheda are like banks of a river. It helps the sadhaka to stay focused and ultimately reach his desired goal, that is Krishna. Now, the fifth factor is Sangatyaga. Sangatyaga means avoiding materialistic association. Did we discuss anything related to avoiding materialistic association in the previous verse?
Yes, Prabhu.
Janasanga.
Janasanga. So here actually the same concept is repeated. Of course, the word used is new. There it was Janasanga. Here it was Sangatyaga. So why is this concept of avoiding the association of unwanted elements repeated? Or in other words, what is the purpose of repetition?
Sangha is the most important limb of bhakti compared to anything else. So,
Okay, so why is something repeated?
It is that we need to be more cautious about it.
Once it repeats 3 times, they say in scriptures.
Sangha is the most influencing thing which can happen, which will influence in any way, positive way, negative way.
Yes. So repetition indicates that it is very, very important. You should make a note of it. And why the Sangha Tyaga or Jana Sangha is repeated? Because this association, if we don't choose the association carefully, then it can destroy all our bhakti. So there was once a discussion, and in the discussion, a question was raised. There are two kinds of association. One is good association and another is bad association. So the question raised was, which association is more powerful? Good association is more powerful or bad association is more powerful? What do you think? Which is more powerful?
Bad association, Prabhu.
Bad association is powerful. Many think that good association is powerful, but it is not correct. More powerful than good association is bad association. Why is it so?
We can see kids also, Prabhu. When we say do something good, it's very hard for them to do. But anything that comes up in TV or video games bad, they just catch in a very fraction of a second.
Yes.
Because it feels it's viruddha. Obviously, like something which is regular, they don't like. Something which is not in the regularity, it feels like it's something new, they want to try it.
Yeah, so that is very true. So that example again reinforces the fact that bad association is more powerful.
Law of gravitation.
Law of gravitation.
Yeah,
so that means
we can fall more faster than going up.
So it is always easier to go down than to go up. For going up, we need to put effort. But for falling down, we don't require any effort. So why is it that for falling down, not in the literal sense, even in the sense of falling down of consciousness, why is it easy for the consciousness to fall down rather than to go up? Why so?
Because
Yes.
falling down will not require any patience.
Ah.
Senses
controls us.
Already we are carrying the vasanas from previous birth.
Exactly. That is the point. Because we already have that vasana. The bad vasanas are more prevalent and strong within our subconscious mind than the positive vasana. So that is why going down is easy, because your natural vasana is already towards that direction. And since your natural vasana is towards that direction, without any effort, you can easily slide down. It is very easy. So that is why bad association is very powerful, because of our previous Janma vasanas. Can you think of any example where someone who was actually nice, good, they immediately fell down within a short span of bad association?
Ajamila.
Exactly. Ajamila was a wonderful Brahmana. He was performing his sadhana very nicely. He had a wonderful chaste wife, nice family. He was born in a devotee family, pious Brahmana family. But even then, a very minimal bad association, it led him to the downfall. So that shows that bad association is very powerful. Any other example?
That sage Prabhu, he sees the two fishes. That sage
What is the name of that sage?
Saubari.
Saubari Muni, Saubari Rishi. He was meditating for many, many years within the waters, controlling his senses. But just by looking at the mating of not even human beings, two tiny fishes, he fell down. And similarly, there is a very good example from Ramayana. Do you know what is that example?
Vali?
Mantara.
Mantara, exactly. Kaikeyi was such a loving mother. In fact, she loved Lord Rama more than Bharata. But within a very short span of time, after her association with Mantara, maybe for some 20-30 minutes hardly, she completely changed. She started seeing Rama as their enemy. So this is the power of bad association. So we have to be very careful about association. And earlier, if we needed bad association, we need to go out of the house. Then only we'll get bad association. But now, in this modern world, sitting inside the safe and secure atmosphere of your home, you can have bad association. How?
Media,
Internet,
mobile.
Smartphones.
social media.
Media, smartphones, hundreds of channels, Facebook, this, that, everything. So nowadays, the children, especially, they are not safe, even within the homes. Earlier, during our generation, we tended to get into false, unwanted company only when we went out of the house. But nowadays, sitting within the house, we can have enough bad company. So it is true not only for children, but also for adults. So the same digital media can be used for good association also. How?
Listening to lecture Bhagavatam.
Yeah,
And
Now
right
we
now
are
we are
taking
doing that
class,
also.
Prabhu. You are
Yeah,
teaching us through Zoom.
yeah. So it is, we are using the digital platform for a good purpose. So it is up to us. We cannot simply blame. Maybe children can say we are innocent, we got influenced, but adults are not innocent. We know what is good association and what is bad association. So we cannot blame the digital media or WhatsApp or YouTube or internet. We have to carefully use those things in the service of the Lord. So it is very important to keep away from bad association. And the last one is Sato Vritti. Sato Vritti means following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So why is it important to follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas? This is mentioned by Jadabharata also. Mahajana ena gadassa pantha. He's saying Jadabharata is teaching Ravugana that the best way to progress in bhakti is Mahajana ena gadassa pantha. You simply follow the path traversed by Mahajanas. Don't try to create your own path. Just follow the path laid out by the Mahajanas. Now, some people say, no, 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 we should have our own path. We have our own individuality. Why we should go behind someone else? So now the question is, what are the advantages of following the path of the Mahajanas? And what are all the disadvantages of trying to create our own path? What do you think?
Time is the biggest thing, we save time and effort. And if we follow our own thing, we no guarantee that, it will success. So we will
Yes,
definitely fall down. And
yes,
wise men normally, don't reinvent the wheel. So he
yes,
the wheel he uses it.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. So why waste your time and energy by reinventing the wheel. The wheel is already there. And the path traversed by the Mahajanas are safe. They are already successful in that path. There is no guarantee that our path will be successful or not. And we cannot take the risk of experimenting with such paths, because by the time you realize that your path was wrong, you must be already 80 plus years old. So there is no second chance for you. So intelligent people, they will always follow the path of the previous acharya. Sato vritti. That's why the followers of Iskcon, they are also known by one particular term, which means they follow. What is that term?
Disciplic succession.
No, there is one particular word which means we follow an acharya.
Anusharan.
All the serious members of Iskcon are also known as Rupanugas. Have you heard this word Rupanugas?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So what is the meaning of that word Rupanuga?
Followers of
We are the followers of Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami. Yeah, we simply follow whatever is given by Rupa Goswami. We don't try to invent anything new. So that is the safest path in spiritual life. And to conclude, Srila Prabhupada is coming up with the glories of Bhakti Yoga. What are the glories of Bhakti Yoga? The first glory is, it is the ultimate path of supreme perfection for any living entity. So it is the best path which will take you to the supreme perfection. That will help you to meet the purpose of human life. So that is the first glory of Bhakti Yoga. The second glory is, there is no fall down in the path of Bhakti. This is declared by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. What is the declaration? Do you remember?
Ananyas Chintayantam.
No
yoga
Name
kshiyam
Bhakta Pranashyati.
pranashyati.
My devotee will never perish. He will never fall down. That is the reason Krishna is addressed by a particular name, which means neither the Lord will fall down, nor will the Lord allow his devotees to fall down. What is that name?
Achyuta.
Exactly, Achyuta. The Nama Achyuta means the Lord will not fall. At the same time, he will not allow his devotees also to fall. Now, the third glory of bhakti is, there is no loss in bhakti. What does that mean when we say there is no loss in bhakti?
It will continue in the next whichever we
Yes.
have read the scriptures or whatever punya we have done. It will continue the next janma.
Yes. See, for instance, if you learned something, say algebra in this lifetime, and before completing the studies, if you stop the studies of your, if you die, then in the next janma you have to start again from 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot continue from where you left, but in bhakti, you can continue from where you left. And another glory of bhakti is, even a little advancement in bhakti can protect one from the greatest danger. Do you know which is that statement in Gita?
Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate bhato.
Exactly. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahado bhayat. even great dangers. He must have done something very small. When we visited the temple, we saw a piece of paper lying on the temple hall, and we picked it up and we deposited that in the garbage can. That's all we did. It's a very simple act, but Krishna will remember that. And for that simple seva, he will save you from the greatest of dangers. And another glory of bhakti is, in bhakti, if someone gets into bhakti, then if today or tomorrow, success is guaranteed. Once you begin bhakti, then one is ultimately dragged to the goal or success. It is not that I started, but in between I left because I failed in bhakti. No, there is nothing like failing in bhakti. In bhakti, whatever you do is a success. For example, 2 devotees went for book distribution with 10 Gitas in hand. And both of them returned in the evening. And one devotee returned with all the 10 Gitas. And another devotee returned empty hand. He sold all the 10 Gitas. Now, out of the 2 devotees who went out for book distribution, who is successful?
Both.
Put all the 10 books back, Prabhu.
No, both are successful.
Yeah.
Why both are successful?
Only endeavor counts.
Yeah.
Krishna will look at the endeavor, isn't it? So, in the case of devotee who did not sell even one book, Krishna is not worried. Krishna can, in a jiffy, make someone sell thousands of Bhagavad Gitas. If he empowers someone, they can do amazing things. So it's not a question of how many Gitas you sold. It is a question of your effort to going out, carrying the Gita, meeting people, requesting them to buy Gita. That is what Krishna is looking at. So that is why in bhakti, there is no failure. So another glory of bhakti is, when you start doing bhakti, naturally good qualities develop in that person. It is not that you sit and develop one by one each and every good quality. No, it naturally comes through the association of Vaishnavas. We also develop good qualities. So like this, bhakti is very, very glorious. And by understanding the glory of bhakti, we should all be inspired to continue in this path of bhakti and also inspire others to come to the path of bhakti. So we'll conclude here. If you have any questions. Okay. Thank you so much. Jai Shri Rupa Goswami Pad Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhadeshantam Ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.